A strange phenomenon occurred one morning in the heart of Yellowstone National Park, where ancient forests stand resilient against time and a land that constantly shifts. It was not humans or technology, but the wildlife, the bears, who became the first to warn of a profound change that no one had noticed. Hundreds of bears appeared along the park's main road, from black to grizzly bears. They didn't run or growl, but stood still, silently observing, guarding, and blocking the path of visitors. This was not the usual behavior of bears, known for their solitary and strong nature. But this time, they acted in unison, sending a silent message that no one could hear. This scene was not only a strange occurrence, but also raised a big question. Why? Park rangers and visitors stood still, not out of fear, but out of surprise and confusion. What were these bears doing? Could they sense something that humans could not see? Hours later, as the sun set and the sky turned orange, small tremors appeared beneath the ground where the bears stood. Some believed these animals, sensitive to environmental changes, detected vibrations humans could not perceive. Some experts explained that the bears, with their highly developed senses, might be able to sense changes in the magnetic field or pressure, things that seismic equipment had not yet detected. The story of the bears not only caused a stir in the conservation community, but spread on social media. Many people shared their emotions when witnessing the bears standing still, eyes gazing into the distance as if facing an impending threat. They knew all too well. No one could fully explain the event, but one thing was sure. The silence and presence made everyone reflect. For a moment, everything seemed to stop. The bears, with focused eyes, didn't attack, but neither did they leave. They stood there, not to threaten, but to warn about something deeper, something they sensed but could not express. Some believed this was a sign of a significant change in nature and the deep connection between animals and this planet. Besides the theories about seismic changes, some believed that this was a wake-up call, a reminder that we, despite having advanced technology, often overlook the subtle signs that nature sends. When we are too busy with modern gadgets, we might miss the signals from wild animals, creatures capable of sensing the world in ways we cannot comprehend. These bears were not just creatures living in the forest. They were symbols of the connection between humans and the natural world. They didn't need to speak or make noise, but their presence was enough to make the whole world stop and reflect. As things slowly returned to normal, the question still lingered. What did we miss? Can we listen to what nature is telling us, or will we continue ignoring these signs? In the following days, as the bears gradually disappeared into the dense forests of Yellowstone, the atmosphere in the park remained heavy with unspoken anticipation. Although there was no distinct earthquake event, the feeling that the earth was changing still haunted the witnesses, and every breeze through the forest seemed to carry a warning. Park rangers, who had often faced wildlife, now felt a strange unease, not because of the danger of the animals, but because of something more profound, an inexplicable feeling of instability beneath the earth. They couldn't deny that things were changing, not just because of humans or storms. Nature, with all its silence and resilience, seemed to be trying to communicate something, and it couldn't be ignored. Though no one spoke of it, in each person's heart, one question kept repeating. Had the bears sensed something before they appeared? One afternoon, while a group of rangers patrolled near the caldera, they noticed a strange phenomenon. A large area below the mountain range began to emit a gentle light. It was not the sun's light, but something warm, like the earth radiated heat. The seismic instruments still didn't detect any strong movement, but the rangers felt a subtle vibration in the air, making them unable to ignore their growing concern. A park ranger named Henry, who had many years of experience in the park, sensed that something extraordinary would happen. His feeling was that nature was moving, not through words but actions. The bears had foreseen something, and now he could feel the continuation of those signs. "We need to stay alert," Henry said, his voice quiet but firm. "We've been ignoring the signs for too long. Nature is communicating with us, but we have to know how to read its language." A research team, including geologists and biologists, arrived in Yellowstone to investigate. Although the tremors had not yet reached dangerous levels, they could still feel the anomaly in the underground changes. The monitoring devices recorded small but significant changes, slight increases in pressure, stronger than usual geyser eruptions, and a few small cracks appearing in the ground. As the research team moved deeper into the area near the caldera, they discovered that it wasn't just the bears. Other animals, from squirrels and deer to foxes, seemed to act unusually. They weren't moving freely as usual. They were gathering together, standing still as though they were waiting for something. The story of the bears was just part of a bigger picture. These animals, by instinct, had recognized something that humans couldn't explain. Something beneath the ground was changing, but no one could predict whether it was a natural phenomenon or something bigger waiting to happen. One evening, as the sky over Yellowstone darkened, the rangers received an urgent notification from the center. A minor earthquake had occurred outside the park's boundaries. Although it wasn't strong enough to cause significant damage, the tremor was enough to cause a section of land along the river to collapse. Data from the seismic monitors now recorded greater changes, signaling a more profound instability beneath the surface. With these changes, the question was about nature's transformation and the connection between humans and nature. The initial signs that the animals had sensed could now be starting to be confirmed. But would humans be alert enough to listen and act in time? The next morning, as the animals in the park continued to behave as though preparing for something bigger, an emergency meeting was held with scientists, rangers, and local authorities. They discussed the necessary actions to deal with the potential situation. Suddenly, everyone realized something. It wasn't panic or fear dominating the park. It was silence and calm, respecting what nature was trying to convey. At that moment, they all understood that the connection between humans and the natural world didn't always have to be made through words. Sometimes it was a more profound understanding, a moment of awakening. Once again, the bears stood there, not moving, not attacking, but their message was still clear. Listen. Don't ignore the signs nature is sending, because we will be the ones to bear the consequences if we don't pay attention to these warnings. And as the bears slowly left, like a silent migration, they left a profound mark. A reminder that the wilderness is not just part of nature, but an essential part of our lives. And when humans choose to listen, we are not only protecting the earth, but also ourselves. Although the researchers confirmed that underground changes in Yellowstone were becoming more apparent, no one could predict what would happen next. The animals continued to behave strangely, and there was an unexplainable tension in the air. It wasn't panic, but a sense of quiet suspicion, as if everyone was waiting for something big, unpredictable. While experts from various fields continued to analyze seismic data and animal behavior, one thing had become clear. The bears were not just reacting to the signs they sensed, but reflecting a deeper connection to the land. The synchronization in their actions, from the large bears to the cubs, was still unexplained by conventional science. They may have sensed the change before our measuring devices detected it. A wildlife researcher, Dr. Mia Williams, shared in a meeting with rangers and seismic experts. Top predators like bears have the ability to sense vibrations in the earth and air that we can't. But we're not always attentive enough to understand them. However, while the underground changes became increasingly apparent, no one could prepare for what would come next. Amid the chaos, a group of rangers and rescue workers noticed something strange. The bears, which had left after the previous event, were now reappearing. But this time, it wasn't in large numbers as before. Only a few stood silently on a high vantage point, observing the entire scene. The bears remained still, but their presence carried a special power. It seemed as though they were guarding a particular area. "They must know something," one of the rescue workers gasped. "Those bears are standing still, as if they are guarding a secret." After the event, Yellowstone National Park, one of the world's most beautiful wilderness areas, became a place for profound change. The bears, the silent guardians of nature, were not just wild creatures. They were signs and messengers warning about changes humans could not recognize in time. But there was one thing the bears had taught everyone. Nature doesn't just speak through storms or disasters. It speaks through actions, small movements, and repressed silences. Only when humans truly listen and choose to observe and understand these messages will nature begin to reveal what lies beneath the surface. This story is not just about nature or bears. It is a reminder of the invisible bond between humans and the earth, about how we have lost connection with nature's profound signals. And like the bears in Yellowstone, sometimes we just need to stop, be silent, and listen to understand the message the earth is trying to tell us. After the unexpected Yellowstone event, the park and the community witnessed a strange awakening. The bears were not just wild creatures, they were the silent protectors of nature, messengers carrying the message from the earth. Their quiet actions made us stop and reflect on the deep relationship between humans and nature, about the signs we often ignore in the hustle and bustle of our daily lives. This story is not just an unusual event in a national park. It is a reminder that nature always has a way of communicating with us. Even through the most minor signs, the silence is full of power. If we truly stop and listen, there are valuable lessons that nature can teach us. Thank you for following the story and exploring the wonders nature wants to share with us. Moments like this make us reflect on ourselves and the world in a different light. If this story has touched your heart, don't forget to hit subscribe to follow more meaningful and insightful stories about nature and wildlife. We will continue bringing you stories to watch and reflect upon. Let's build a community that loves nature, always listening to and appreciating all the creatures around us. Thank you, and see you again in the following videos.